Hello YouTube, Scamp the Wolf here, back with another video for your viewing pleasure. And yes, the beanie is back for a little bit, but that's beside the point. We got KILLSWITCH Engaged to talk about in this video, and they came out with an album called Disconsequence, which just came out. And yeah, so we'll begin there. Like, it's been over 5 years at this point for KILLSWITCH Engaged to come out with an album. They last left off with Atonement, which I thought was a pretty good record. I mean, everything since Jesse Leach came back into the band has been very good, especially albums like the aforementioned Atonement and Disarm the Descent. Both of those, I think, are very good albums in my opinion. So going into this Consequence, I was thinking, okay, maybe this would be a little bit more the same of that. And to be fair, it is. I mean, Killswitch Engage doesn't really stray too far away from like the sound that made them who they are today. Like, I mean, they've never really done that. They've done a good job of doing that, basically. So, I mean, it's kind of a win for them, obviously. Um, and that makes this album a very solid album in that regard, and that they're like enjoying like a lot of the sounds and stuff that they're making and stuff like that, and they're like pushing that in to, and they're doing it for another album and stuff like that. So that overall makes it very pleasurable to listen to. But I feel like this album is a bit weaker in comparison to the previous three records, and I will explain my reasonings as to why that is, like, as we go along here. Firstly, I don't really think the production is that great. Um, like, I feel like the last three albums had a lot more punch to them in the production. I feel like this one is kind of missing something that like really like deep uh, element, and I think the focus is to be a bit more melodic. But like, I don't really hear that much bass or anything like on this album. Like, there's not like a lot of like a prominent like focus on like just making it like heavy or anything like that. Um, yeah, and it is heavy. I mean, they do have like blast beats here. They do have like heavy riffs, vocals, and all that kind of stuff on this album. Which, I mean, like, you've heard that before, but it just feels a bit like toothless, I think, in the production. And hate to say it's not really like adding up that much, but I feel like this album still manages to do some things right. And there are several tracks that I do recommend off of this album. For instance, the two singles, even though I think Forever Aligned isn't like the best song ever or anything like that, like, it is kind of like generic. Um, and yeah, it's well written and stuff, but like, I feel like it is kind of like we've heard this kind of song before from Killswitch Engage before. And then I Believe, which I feel like is slightly better, but it's a slightly better song, but like, it's um again, not amazing or anything, but pretty good. There's some other songs on here too that I enjoyed, like Collusion, and then The Fall of Us. I really did enjoy that song. That probably is the best song on this album. They really go for like a lot of like interesting melodies here, like a lot of like kind of like interesting like sounds. Like, there's an acoustic part of this song. I think it was in this song. I'm not sure. Um, but somewhere in this album, I heard an acoustic passage that I thought was pretty solid. Like, I thought it was very cleverly like placed in the song, and I feel like that's probably the most complete song on this album, aside from like cuts like the opening track "Abandon Us" and stuff like that, and like some of the radio singles and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that, but like, again, I feel like this album is a bit like clunky when it gets to like structure wise of songs. I feel like this, like, some of these songs are like missing parts to them. Like, there could be like sections. Like, I really wish there was like more to songs like Discordant Nation and like Where It Dies and stuff like that. Like I feel like, and Broken Glass too. I feel like I wish there was more to these songs than just like a verse and a chorus and a verse and a chorus, like, and then like no interesting, no, like no real way to cap it off or anything like that. Just kind of just ending like kind of abruptly, which is interesting because like I said, I think I might have said this before, but these are only like this album is only 35 minutes long, and there's like several tracks that are like only like around 2 minutes. Like there's two tracks that like aren't even at the 3 minute mark. Most of these tracks are. There's only two songs on this album that like go past the 4 minute mark, which are Forever Line and The Fall of Us. Like both of those tracks are like above 4 minutes, and yeah, it's just like I don't know really how I feel about that in particular, and also I feel like the fact that I said that this is like Killswitch Engage doing what they do is a good thing, and it's also a bad, not a bad thing, but like it's also kind of a disappointing thing because like they're kind of like doing the same thing like over and over again, and like you would like to see a little bit more exploration and stuff like they did on The Fall of Us, which was a very good song in my opinion. And also, when they do solos on the album, I'm just gonna say they are so lazy. They are so like, I mean, there's good elements, but the way they end off is just like, I'm sorry, like these solos on Requiem and Abandon Us, they don't work in my opinion. They could have completely like scrap the solos in my opinion. Like I'm not a fan of solos in general necessarily as much, but like they really could have just scrapped these solos on these songs and just like nothing would change about them in my opinion. Like it just, I don't know, it just doesn't really add much to the song other than like they remind me of like really bad solos and stuff like that. But they aren't really terrible, but like yeah, I think I don't know. I'm just whatever. Um, yeah. Overall, like, yeah, I guess I can say that this is a pretty solid album. It is a step down from Atonement, I think, but like overall, this isn't a bad album. Definitely better than All That Remains, Anti-Fragile. I mean, in comparison to that album, this album is like I don't know one of the top 5 albums of the year because All That Remains album was garbage. I'm just gonna say that. So in terms of that, this would probably get like a 9 out of 10 if we were doing it like if we were directly comparing it to that. But for the purposes of everything else that's going to be released in the year and my like actual opinion on it, I'm thinking light 7, like kind of middle of the road 7, light to middle 7, around there. Maybe even a strong 7. I don't even know. Like I feel like 7 is the perfect score for this album in particular. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on this album from Killswitch Engage. Pretty solid, although not their best work in my opinion. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below, of course, as always. And yeah, this is Scamp Wolf signing out. Take care.